cut off there. Make sure you share the live. Hello, hello. Hello, how is everyone doing? Happy Monday. Hello, Michael. Hello, LeVar. Hello, Tristan. How was everyone's weekend? Can you hear me? Let me know. Hello, hello. Just sharing this myself. Perfect. Perfect. How was everyone's Monday? How was everyone's weekend? Let me know, let me know. For those that aren't living here in Alberta, we're dealing with a lot of smoke due to the, thank you. Got these online. Yeah, we're dealing with a lot of smoke right now because of the forest fires and all that, so it's Mondaying. I get it, I get it. Here in Canada, it's our long weekend, so I've been having fun all weekend. Just waiting for our guest, listening to some great music right now. How was your weekend, Michael? Let me know. How about you, LeVar? How was your weekend? Tristan, let me know. Hello, Epic Steel Orchestra. Welcome, welcome. Happy Monday. Hello, Sean. Welcome. Happy Monday. We're just having a talk, seeing how everyone's weekend went. You need another day off. I agree. I agree. We need a 4-day week. We need a 4-day week. Hello. That's good. So I'm assuming the gig went well. How was Chicago, Epic Steel? Busy's good, Tristan. Busy is good. Even though, make sure you take time for yourself, right? That's good, Michael. Glad the gig went well. Hopefully you have many more coming. Just waiting for a few more people. Nice. How did that birthday celebration go, Epic Steel? Hello, hello. Just waiting for our guest. Okay. If I was living in the States, I mean, I can probably help you out there. We're just waiting for our guest to come in here. Hello, Mr. King. How are you? I should move. I like my free healthcare that I'm getting right now. So I am good, Mr. King. I am very well. I'm just waiting for our guest to show. I'm sorry, Michael. I'm sorry, Michael. I am sure you'll, I mean, you can always move here. see if our guest is in this room right now. Well, that is very true, Mr. King. That is very, very true. You like your expensive healthcare? Well, then, guess we're gonna stay our separate ways then. One day I'm planning on coming to visit New York, though, so we'll see. We'll see. We will see. We will see. Let's see. One day I'm planning on going to New York. Ticket prices right now are a little ridiculous. So, I don't know, one day I will make my way over there. I don't know if I want to enjoy your guys' winters, so I don't think we want to do that. So it looks like our guest is in the room. Michael, we'll talk, Michael. So hello and welcome to All Things Pan. For those that are new, I'm your host, Danielle George. We are sponsored by Pantastics 868. So make sure you check them out on Instagram. I have their sticks right here. They have everything from tenor sticks to bass sticks. If you live in North America, make sure you just DM me, message me, and I will try my best to get them to you. I think I have a few tenor sticks left. If you live anywhere else, message Pantastics, and they will get the sticks to you as soon as possible. So again, for those that are new, on this page, we talk literally about all things pan. We talk to tenors. We talk to pan players, tuners, builders, arrangers, pan enthusiasts about all things pan. So on that note, I would love to invite our guest. Hopefully he can join the live. I hope he's doing it on his phone and not his iPad, because that might be a little difficult. Oh, I think we got him. Oh,
spin the camera. Sorry.
Okay. How are you?
Pretty good.
That's good. That's okay. We'll figure it out.
Contraption. It dawned on me like, wait a minute. This is not like the other webcam videos. You're gonna have to set up your phone. Okay. No, I'm cool. Just got home from work. Was helping a former student finish his now late college assignments. Bad habits.
Why are you helping?
He needs railings. Yeah, you know. Now the way I look at a lot of it is I stress the hell out of my students. I put them in very high performance situations where at the drop of a dime I may just tell them, you know what, we're gonna have you all play for lunch. So you're gonna have to, I'm gonna just write a pass for you to not be in your next classes, and you're gonna play for 400 people. And I know you're not prepared, and you're gonna have to deal with that. And that to me is more of the actual life lesson to teach as a music teacher than C major 7. It's like, who is that helping sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
So when I realized, you know what, this is a good person that life has been lifing, and they're new to lifing the hell out of them, I'm going to treat them like a human being, like I would want someone to treat me in that moment. So
right.
I help them.
Okay. So
reluctantly.
We're going to get back to that, the pressure part of the teaching that you do.
Sure.
Because just hearing that, I got nervous. I'm like, what?
No, I mean, honestly, if, like, as a musician, there are, like, a lot of strange psychological and psycho-emotional things that happen in the spur of a moment. Two things in particular stood out for me that changed the way I teach. One, when I first started gigging, I was like, actually, when I started playing pan when I was like 10 with Kasim, so we technically were gigging a lot, but when I was doing it independently for money, I was around, in New York, I was around 19, and I worked with this guy named Rudy Critchlow. I still work with him. Actually, we have a gig like next week. And we got to a country club. We rode up to the country club, And the first thing the security guard looked at him, being dark-skinned with dreads, he was.
Right.
I was very milky, with a short fro. And the first thing that the guy said was, "You can't come this way. The band has to go around the back." There was no, we were in a rented car too, so we looked, we looked nice. There was no way to detect that we were not guests. And that was the first thing, not, "Hi, how are you? Where are you heading to?" "No, you can't enter this way. The band, all the musicians and stuff go in the back." Now, I, of course, immediately, at the time, Rudy didn't know this about my personality. I immediately leaned over to, I was in the passenger side window.
Mm-hmm.
I leaned over to the driver and said, "Is it because we're black?" Right now, if Rudy was just a few shades lighter, you could see him blush. And I laughed it off. I said, "Thank you. I appreciate it. Saved us some time having to drive around this big golf course or wherever we were." Yeah. And right, I knew how to diffuse the situation. And on the ride back, Rudy was like gasping, clutching he wasn't so much angry at me. He just was like, he didn't know how to respond to me in that situation, because he thought that I wasn't going to be able to deal with that level of racism. Now, mind you, we were getting paid well. And then after that incident, being a consciously minded Caribbean American man, I still had to go and make all the guests and everyone happy. See, that part of the window of the musical experience, I think, is the thing that we don't teach with music sometimes. Like the self-hatred you get. And the other thing, of course, was number two, was the self-hatred. When you're trying to play something and you can't, and your body won't allow it to, I feel like that is a deeper teaching experience than. So that's my philosophy about all of it.
And we haven't even started all the questions yet. All right.
I'm gonna wait.
No, we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that for sure. Michael had a comment here. As well as you're paid, you're still seen as the help by those that don't know.
Look. For those of you that are watching, okay, I'm also a minister, and I've been an active minister at least 2 churches for the last 6-7 years. And then prior to that, I was like, I've been a church musician my entire life, right? Yeah. And I happen to know that what we do to people is medicine. Even if it seems like all we're doing is, people will paint. When they want the room to look a certain way, they paint it with colors. But when they want time to be remembered a certain way, we paint it with music. So even the casual music that someone listens to while we're playing is acting as a form of painting to their life experience. So yes, whether you want to or not, we are the help. We are to help them feel more human as they buy more Bitcoin and question what they should wear today.
While he drinks his water.
Coconut water. Come on.
Water? Oh, okay. Yes, everyone take notes. Get the pen and paper ready. I feel like I got mine here ready. I'm telling you, I'm so excited for this interview. I've been wanting you on the show, and we have a mutual friend that kind of helped us get over that stuff. We appreciate you, Sean. Yeah, sure. So for those that don't know and that are living under a rock, who are you?
Okay, my name is Professor Bumblebee. I'm joking. I am Khuent Rose. I'm a New York, Brooklyn-born musician and steel panist and educator, comedian, tuner, a bunch of random stuff. I'm not the jack of all trades. That's my friend Damo. We leave him alone. No, Damo's great. You should go listen to his new album.
Okay. We'll talk about that too.
Okay, just keep that in mind. Yeah, I grew up in the heart of what people call Caribbean Brooklyn. So I grew up basically between Church Avenue and Eastern Parkway. Like all of that. I still live here. All of that is my my crucible. And as a result, my parents are Latino. So my parents are from Honduras and Costa Rica. And their culture is very Afro-Latino, which quite frankly is just like the Caribbean. It's a mixture of African, kind of like undercurrent in the music, in the style of talking, in the style of dance, but it's
Yeah.
Latino mostly in language and things like social language, like certain social etiquette, things like always greeting an older person when they walk by you. I
Yeah.
don't know why these guys are dirt biking in a residential neighborhood, but stuff like that. Growing up, I went to a school that was mostly Caribbean teachers. Like I didn't have a white teacher until
Now
I
I hear it.
was yes, until I was 13 actually in high school. That was the first time that I had like a non-Caribbean teacher. So I was kind of saturated in a world full of different kinds of music, different kinds of accents, which mine at this point is all corrupted. People don't know where I'm from. They think I'm Trinidadian. I gotta correct that every. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. They love me. They love me in Trinidad. They love me in Trinidad. And Guyana. Guyana pay better. But no comment. I'm joking. Guyana love me a little bit better. They curry a little superior. Y'all gotta bring your curry game up to Guyana. Just letting you know. You can fight me about that. But that kind of
You're making me
experience growing up.
you're making me make a trip, especially for you to come beat you.
Nah, definitely. Guyana, yo, Guyana curry lash.
Okay.
Jesus. But I grew up around that kind of kaleidoscopic thing, and I also saw how the Caribbean people interacted with one another, and how Americans interacted with Caribbean people, and then how West Africans represented with Caribbean people, and then how African Americans. Right. So somewhere in the mixture of trying to be part of all of those groups, I assimilated all of their languages, I assimilated all of their histories, I assimilated all of their musical styles. And thanks to my great grandmother who gave me a small, like, a keyboard about this size, right? That kind of sparked my interest in music in that way. My mom used to drag me to church. At first it was dragging, then I used to go on my own. And I used to sit next to the keyboard player, the organist, and watch them play. And I just found it fascinating. This sounded very fascinating. At some point, teaching people how to do it was very fulfilling. Something about having the person not get it at all and then do it on their own. And then beyond that, something about that is just like, it's fulfilling in a way that I can't find in any other way, and that kind of sparked my interest in teaching. So that is all of that. I also got beat a lot because I used to run my mouth. So I learned to be a comedian as a safety defense mechanism. So that's why all of that's there. Oh, Orisha. So that's the other. Oh, she looks over my shoulder like, what are you doing there? I also went through West African initiation. Well, I went through Lukumi. We be specific. I went through initiations into West African Orisha tradition. Actually, it was weird. I was still working at the churches. I was actually like the minister of music at the church at the time. And I kept having these like weird experiences that I couldn't make sense of. And I eventually attributed it to needing to have to like seek my own spirituality, blah, blah, blah. Eventually met up with people that were in the religion, went to the initiations, was still playing at the church, okay, for years, just in my white clothes and the beads. And those people at the church knew something was up. But if this teenager keeps coming here every Sunday, he stays here all the time.
Right.
He helps the little children. He's cleaning up the church for us. Something is not as bad as we think it is. And that whole experience is what has made me the way that I am now. That kind of extremist realities that converge. It just makes me feel like all of us are just part of one weird fabric. So that is Khuent Rose. And if you want to find other things about me, you can go to quentertainment.com. There's like nothing there, but that's where you can at least see pictures of me. There's some stuff. There's some stuff. You know what I look like at the end of the, I'm working on it.
Nice. It's okay. It's okay. Everything good takes time, right?
Yeah.
So where did Pan come into all of this?
Oh, all right. Abrupt history. At the age of about 10, I started playing with Cassim, who at the time practiced 2 blocks from my current home on Lincoln Road and Nostrand at the St. Paul's of Assisi Church in the basement. William Jones, recently deceased. Recently, probably a year or two deceased. He founded the band in the 70s with a bunch of other people, and at the time, Arden Herbert was a musical director when I got there. Now, Arden was like a 30-year-old kind of spunky, quick-witted, springy guy, you know.
Yeah.
And I was an entirely too hyperactive child. No, like bad. If anybody from that era would tell you, it was if ADHD was a thing that we would kind of like tell, like your kid got definitely me. Couldn't say
Interesting.
but oddly enough, I learned actually that, you know what, I kind of do have some of those traits, but they work perfectly for music. They work ideally for music. You need me to occupy both hemispheres. You know, maybe the piano is what you should be giving your kid instead of not to say that those things don't help, but just consider that there may be methods. If your child is exhibiting these quirky things, stick them in front of a piano. Buy them a small pan, a xylophone. Stop having them read books and they're tearing the books up. Give them Legos. My mother used to realize that I like to take things apart. She used to give me Legos, and I guess that also built the same fascination with piano keys.
Yeah.
Kind of the same thing. So in CASM, Arden recognized that I had kind of an aptitude to music. But actually, let me not say that. The first person that really taught me anything, her name is Jillian Lake. I think she was recently married, so her last name's different.
Yeah.
But Jillian, I always thank her for her immense patience, because I was crazy. And Jillian at the time was like 13. So you got a 13-year-old girl and a really immature 10-year-old, and she was teaching me all the parts.
Wow.
Yeah, she used to get mad at me.
I could imagine. I could only imagine.
But now I absolutely adore her. She plays with, I think she still plays with Rado. She plays quads.
Okay.
The junior band leader and captain at the time, his name, Dwight De Silva. Now he's known as the Executive. As a DJ and radio personality. Yeah. He was easily the most influential person when it comes to like how I could be myself and professional at the same time. He had this he still does, he has this very cool way about himself, but he's a geek. He's like a nerd. Like inside, he's a child, and he embraces that. But the moment that we need to be serious, he could just switch the thing immediately and get you to do it without feeling like you were being crushed in the process. You know, like if you had to correct, I used to bang the hell out of those pans. They made sure to give me the oldest pans in the pan yard. Sometimes the pans would weren't playing. It was bad. To the point, even Harrigan, Leary Harrigan once heard me playing the cello in the pan yard. And he told me to take the pan down so he could tune it to last. And he actually did. You know what? The funny thing is that actually became the first time that I figured out what tuning was. Oddly enough. Yes, he did this weird thing where he flipped the pan over and he stretched the note out until it was like too low to be right. At that point, I could tell when the note was supposed to be in tune and out of tune. And he like stretched the low C till it was like a B. And then he would find like a corner of it and start to peen it back like very slowly. And all of a sudden, the note would just kind of like blossom into its right pitch. And that was the first time that I understood that they were actually like flexing a rubbery piece of steel in a spring instead of like creating a bubble that you hit.
Yeah.
Nerd brain. But yes, that was my time in pan. We went to I used to go to the solo competitions. They used to have a lot of solo competitions for teenagers at Medgar Evers and a place called Aristocrat Manor. All these places, it was a nice name for a dirty place, to be honest with you. but we loved it because it was kind of like this old timey place that we hung out in. Like imagine if you hung out in like a bar from the 1950s and it has that like decor. Yeah,
That's
everything
cool.
there was ancient. It was
That's
ancient. We're almost afraid to touch it.
cool.
Yeah, but we used to have competitions. I used to compete with Kareem the Dream Thompson and beat him. He would straight cut my ass today, telling you today though. He would listen to me, put me between two pieces of bread. Understand me? I don't, nah, my friends are another type of individual in pants.
Yeah.
I think about like Kareem and Andre. Them two, I gotta stop right there. Provost. All right, all right. This, I mean, incredible people, incredible, transportative kind of musicians. But that's been my like trajectory. Eventually, I went to Florida Memorial and I met Dr. Dawn Batson, who further reorganized my soul. She is a entity. I don't like to call her a woman. Not that she's not female or anything like that, but to just relegate her to something human is not enough. Yeah, I don't know how to, she's very otherworldly. If you sit down and speak to her at any point, you'll know exactly what I mean. Anyway, anyone that has ever had her as a teacher will also have this experience. Her mother, God bless her soul, also had this like gravitas about them, the way that they walked, the way that they spoke. I don't know, Dr. B, something different about you. And she was oddly enough also Arden's teacher while he was in Trinidad. So there was that weird, yes. And then here's another weird thing. I eventually came back from Florida Memorial and went to Brooklyn College in Brooklyn, in New York. And I eventually had Dr. Tanya Leon, who's like, I think she won like a Pulitzer or Nobel Peace Prize or something for the music that she did. And she was also one of Arden's teachers.
The world is
okay. That's I tell
the world is very small.
Yes, but I will never regret having those people in my life.
Yeah.
There's no way that I could have been the level of successful that I've been. Mind if my mom, my father, and those guys, that's a little different. Those are like my super fans. They absolutely love me and adore me, and everything that I have is because of them. But outside of that, like those people have been so formative that I still actionably remember things about them while doing my work, while thinking about doing my work. I still keep anytime I have to write something like big and dynamic, I actually pull out I have them somewhere sitting at my foot, the notes that Dr. Leon used to write. She used to take like a regular blank piece of 8x11 paper, and when we would have a class, she would kind of create a pictograph to illustrate what she was talking to you about. So if she was talking about tempo or rhythm or harmony, she would use some kind of drawing, somewhat abstract using musical notes, but she would explain it to you in such a way that it would like lock what she meant in, because it's so philosophical what we're doing. It's like, like, why does that have such an effect on you?
Right.
Because, it's like, what is it doing inside of our bodies? And then how do we convey that now when we have our own music? That was the thing with Leo.
Yeah.
With Dr. Batson, she, short of calling me a bitch, short of doing that, she absolutely destroyed my ego. She would throw things at me like, Khuent, here are some freshmen. Here's the syllabus. You're going to teach them this quarter. You're going to teach them for a couple of months. Mind you, I am also a freshman. This was my first week of class, and she had me teaching the class. Okay. So when they tell them kids, like, go play for lunch, I don't give a shit. She's talking about you, man. I'm going to call my mom. I don't think this is fair. I think you're going to be a sophomore again. You better get them 6. B flat is on the left side of your pen. That's all you got. Just roll on that for 4 minutes, and I will at least give you a 65. Don't play with me.
That is crazy.
Yes. What else is there in Pan? Cannot forget this man. Martin Douglas, a friend of Dr. Batson,
Yeah.
who recently passed due to complications with COVID. Very shocking kind of passing. But he took the bravery of allowing me to arrange for Crossfire in Brooklyn for 2 years. They were originally supposed to go to the Steel Bands Festival. They canceled the festival. I stayed on as the arranger. And the band was going through that, that reformative stage where they don't got a place to practice, they ain't got no money, they ain't got no players, nobody want to come to practice. And they're like, we go to Panorama. So I'm like, okay. Like, what was I going to say? No?
Right.
Like, give me a break.
Right.
Dougie ended up dragging us on stage. I think that we had 7 people. It feels like it. I remember that I could hear the sound of the band through the speakers next to me. That's how small the band was. The band wasn't loud enough to overpower the amplification.
Wow.
But we went on stage jamming with our 2-piece, and we came last. We deserved it. And then the following year, we played Vengeance. We played an arrangement of Vengeance that I constantly watered down because I didn't know. I wasn't really interested, to be honest with you. Truth be told, if anybody hears this story now, I've never cared about Panorama. It was like, I know what it takes to win. So if you don't have a certain bass components, even if I am Liberace, like if I am the end all of the Pan, we're not gonna place well if we don't got good pans and good players. Like it's not gonna.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we took that L, and then the next year we tried harder. We took another L. And you know what? They brought on Leon Foster Thomas, another friend of mine, and the following year, I think became like 4th. Now, I stayed on. Foster, I could come to practice. I didn't even know that there was no switch arrangements. I didn't know what was going on. Foster came down to practice, and when I tell you, I immediately read the room. I said, okay. Just like that. Okay. He started handing out music. I started to learn it. And that was the end of it. Well, not so much the end of it, but there was like no need for discussion. Eventually, Dougie came and said, listen, I think the band, blah, blah, blah. I just hit Dougie in the center of his chest and gave him a hug. Dougie, the band can't come last again. Let's get this together. And I stayed on for the year and helped them build. Because ultimately, I wasn't interested in Panorama. I was interested in the band.
Right.
So anything I could do to build Crossfire worked for me. And I, of course, I would paint to the devil. You're running the players out the band. Your music too hard. Your music too hard. They kept saying my music was hard, and then they was dying trying to play Foster's tenor music on a bass. You understand me? I don't know if you ever played music by Leon Foster Thomas, but he don't care.
I was gonna say
the experience level is like. If he won that,
you're playing it.
Yeah. Cheers. I'm more of the Bradley. I'm more of the kind of sweet you down, sweet chord kind of thing. You don't have to sweat to play my music. Nah. You do have to get the, but you don't have to sweat to play it. No. I want you to dance as much as the audience is dancing.
Okay.
Yeah. See?
So that is your thought process when it comes to arranging then?
Most of the time, if it's arranging a song, right? To me, arranging is taking a pre-existing song that someone knows and reformatting it in a way that they would still like. That's what I think it is, right? If it is a classical piece, I feel like you can really you can go like far out there. But if you're like arranging a Panorama song, to me, it's always been that it should feel right. Like even the one part of the actual rules in the Panorama, the rules. No one knows what the hell they are, what they mean. I tried rewriting my own rules. I can share that with you one day. I have my own Panorama rules, my own Pan competition rules. That makes sense.
So I feel like we need like part 2, 3, 4, and 5 with this conversation.
Whatever. I'm free. As long as there's coconut water, I'm free. Am I good?
Okay.
Yes. She doesn't say no. But yeah, there's like in the heart of that, the actual Panorama rules, it says that you're supposed to capture the spirit of carnival. Write a song that captures the spirit of carnival. I don't know, be a man. I know about spirit. So I feel like, I mean, obia is the colloquial word for someone that is more
Yeah, I get it.
spiritually inclined than, you know, the dentist.
Yeah. But to capture the spirit of carnival is a rule?
That's part of when you go online to Pan Trimbago's website
Okay.
and look up the rules about Panorama. It is written in there. It's written in there. So I always felt like that actually is the most important part. No one knows what the hell harmonic manipulation, harmonic development, melodic development, what it actually is and how you can detect it while listening to the song at 125 beats per minute in 9 sections from 30 feet away for the first time.
Yeah.
Well, no, actually, they have rounds. They have rounds. Technically, there's some consistency. But everywhere else in the world, how much are you? How much are you? That's 38 out of 40 that you put. What did you base that on exactly? Because you gave both of us a 38, and our songs sound nothing alike.
Right.
So I'm gonna go with the spirit of the carnival thing, and I don't mind if I never win a Panorama. I would mind if no one loved the music. If at the end no one enjoyed this, that would bother me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's fair. That's fair. Shane has a comment. Very true. The days of when being arranged for Crossfire, we got to be stiff like robots. So moving on.
Yeah. God bless him. Bean is a different style of arranger. And how do I explain this? Okay. Can I get in trouble for this statement? Who could cut my ass? So I'm just gonna go for it. So basically, the way to look at Panorama competition at this point, my super hyper analytical brain has kind of made sense of a lot of the things. I'm good at finding patterns. So you have to remember that each Panorama competition, whether it's in London, whether it's in South Africa, I think they have one somewhere in like Antigua. They're I don't call them the lesser West Indies. In the other islands of the Caribbean, right? Each one of them has a kind of vocabulary that's unique to them, right?
Right.
So if you go to London's Panorama, part of that vocabulary is a different use of harmonic language. Like you're going to find a lot more, how do I explain this? I can demonstrate it kind of. Okay. In Trinidad's Panorama, for the most part, all of your harmonies and all of the stacking of the layers are in thirds.
Right.
What is one of these songs people are still playing now?
Engine Room, Long Live Soca.
Oh God.
Right?
Engine Room, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is very... Trinidad would do that, okay? Right. But you'd have London would play... they'd change things like that. Because their musical language is still kind of rooted in classical stuff. And the way that English people learned Caribbean music was through the very jazz-influenced stuff brought over with like Kitchener and Sparrow. Right. Because if you listen to old Americans would call it jazz. For Trinidadians would just say the bendy woods, you know. Fine. Bending, that's the definition of a blues tone, but fine, let's not kill ourselves. That use of harmonic language is now more fluid when you see like younger arrangers. Duvon spent a lot of time in England. Not that he lived there, but I mean the back and forth. And the same thing is true of Bugsy. The same thing is true of Bradley. Like they spent a lot of time in other parts of the world where the musical language was predominated by different sets of like harmonic and melodic rules. And then you listen to their music. All of the quote unquote greats had that experience where they broke out of the conventional sound,
Right.
and then their music took off somewhere because they could use dissonance in a new way. In each panorama, you have to know how much of that is acceptable. If you, like, this is one of the conversations I've always had with people that quite frankly don't know a damn thing about arranging, but they talk about like Andy Narrow's style of arranging.
Right.
I've had people say that Andy Narrow, that people in France, for instance, or people in yeah, like I thought of time they say this immediately, but the people in France are just copying Andy Narrow's style. And I'm thinking to myself, do you say this when you are arranging and you put notes for the guitar player to strum that sound like this?
Right.
Whose style are you using? Because I've used it too. So there's a point where you have to like
yeah.
maybe consider that that is now the method that they're using. But it has little to do with Andy as much as it has to do with this is pretty. Just because you don't know how to control it, don't. Okay, let me stop. I'm doing that thing again. I'm doing that thing again. So I think that's just something that I've noticed about the panoramas that anyone involved in arranging them has to consider. Where are you right now? What is your song about? Like,
right.
If you don't give me a little bit, look who on the call. Look who on the call.
I know. I see.
I seen your name.
I saw it too. Yeah. Hello, Duan.
It's like when you listen to a Trinidad panorama, you're gonna often get rhythm breaks that are Afro-Indian, that are Latino, that are every once in a while you get a little Chino, you get a little Chino thing going on and all. But you don't find that, for instance, in New York. You may find that like somebody that uses like they may do that every once in a while. And who is that? Hammered, probably. It's just like it's.
I mean,
it's someone whose cultural influence is born from that place, right? Yeah. But you will find things that sound more funky, or they'll sound more like modern pop music. This was often associated with like Professor's music, God rest his soul as well. Yeah. That they would say, "Oh, it sounds like he's playing American music," because he would change the harmonic scope, or he would use a backbeat rhythm that made you clap your hand this way. Calypso doesn't really make you clap your hand this way. It doesn't. No,
definitely not. No.
Yes, because it's not a clapping sport, you know.
No, yeah.
And in Indian music, same thing. The rhythms are not a backbeat clap. So it's like subtle things that I think, quite frankly, I don't know how the judges are supposed to deal with that. I don't know.
It's very difficult.
That's why my thing is all mathematical. My judging criteria, super mathematical. How many times did you use a device? Did you use the same device multiple times?
Interesting.
If I realize that every couple of transitions you're using a same chromatic cluster, you've only used one device. You may have used that device 16 times, but like you're like a guy that only have one position. Like you got to work on that. You got to work on that. The band bigger than that. You got to just. You heard me.
So when it comes to composing, we were listening to a song that I found on YouTube, Paul Steady, that is played by Andre White, and you on the keys, and Sheldon on the drums, and Kyle Miles on the bass. How did that come about? Yeah. So what was your process in composing that song? Because it was amazing. I played it twice.
Yeah. So I don't write fast music most of the time.
Right.
And I was in my old apartment, had a house fire. Funny story, taught me to be anti-materialist, right? And I walked to my apartment, just open space in my thoughts. So my thoughts have space to kind of like float around and not bump into each other. Joking.
Yeah.
It started with in my head I heard the sound of just a drummer. This is
wow. Okay.
Sometimes it's just like that. So I sat down at the keyboard and got yeah. Now I'm good with harmonies because I play in the church. So that's another thing.
Right.
Playing in the church, your job is to provoke intense
Feeling.
emotion
Yeah.
all the time, every verse. You see what I'm saying? But you felt it though. Okay. I actually learned a lot of that from this guy named Frederick Lamour. He is another other world. Frederick Lamour. Look up Frederick Lamour. He's not easy to find. He's like one of these guys in the pocket of the universe that likes to say to himself more than I do. But sitting next to him for a year in the church, watching him ache to get the music right, seeing him like almost in tears to play the right combination. I've seen him like sit down trying to reharmonize a hymn and get so frustrated. Like he walked away like tearful. He didn't like burst into tears, but something, and I could hear what he was doing. And that I always just translate into the band. That.
Yeah.
So when it comes to harmonies, I've learned that the more, if you ever watch a Jacob Collier special, he's way, look at the Honduras will be a man, don't forget. He's excellent at explaining like the depth of how he chooses harmonies and things like that. For me, I have a simple rule. Am I giving away a secret? No, if I give away the rule, that's not a secret, that's fine. Okay. The rule is the person must find home, but be comfortable leaving it. So the harmonies between the home, the main parts of the song should take you very far away from home. You should feel like at a moment you are no longer sure what key you're in. You're almost not sure where the cadence is, like that open feeling of just floating. Yeah. And then you have to kind of like hold on to the melody. And then when you arrive home, that immense sense of relief. So the harmonies go B, then there's a B sus. Oh, let me try that one. Is that easy to hear? Yep. Okay. Then C sus9 to F sharp under G, C major, back to B. So it's because in my mind I'm hearing the only thing that I can hold on is the melody.
Wow.
So that's at least that's where it's happening in my head.
Yeah. Does it always start with the drums for you when you're composing, or is it just hands? Okay.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying I'm happy that my great grandmother, put that keyboard in my hand, because the OCD brain. Oh, my phone is riddled with fragments of whole songs, books.
Yeah.
No, I mean books. Like I have a 6-hour rant that I'm supposed to turn into a book. It's bad. It's bad. I'm always vexed. Wiz, I don't wanna bring up how I know you. Oh, La Banda Ramirez. So La Banda Ramirez is actually another friend of mine, Chacho. Chacho Ramirez, he's a Latin percussionist. He lives up in Harlem with his wife. A flautist. Amazing people. That man, you see me pointing down at him, if you could see, if you know how to say La Banda Ramirez joined, if you could ever see it on my side, right? He made me really understand how Latin rhythms work together.
Wow.
Yeah, like really how they're supposed to really fit. But you know, sometimes when you listen, I gotta see, I'm gonna say this, I'm probably embarrassed with my rhythm sections. Yeah, but listen to my band, and it's time for them to play the Latin section. Yeah, and you get, and you're like, damn, y'all don't know any other form of Spanish, but you're gonna be mad at me when all of my drums.
Right.
You're too close to Venezuela. Your country's capital is called Port of Spain. Fix that, my people. Fix that. Find a Cuban, love them. Them same Venezuelan, ask them about Punta, Cumbia, Montuno, Son Montuno. Don't laugh at me. You know exactly what I'm saying. Expand, expand. All right. There are more Latinos and Trinis in the world. So we're going to keep moving. We're going to keep moving. And if I just know it. Okay, I'm not going to get into all this. Okay? Y'all not ready. Y'all not ready. But yes, so compositions. So that's usually, it's kind of like anywhere. Sometimes the composition, if they start in a musical place, like drumming or a melody, it means nothing if it's not accompanied by a feeling. To me, Pulse Steady was the sensation that I got from being, like, riding a bike. That moment where you're like high from running.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. It's like, it's not so much like a heartbeat. It's like how your nervous system is reacting. And you leap over things. Then the melody comes out as and it's very like warm. Back to some darkness. Don't ask me to remember the music. I don't remember the music. The music's not for it. You'll find that online one day. You'll find that online. I'll sell sheet music on Facebook or something.
Okay.
But yes, that's a lot of my music is like that. And people want. I've had this asked of me, Khuent, where the hell is your actual music? Like, it seems like everyone loves your music and no one has ever heard of it.
That is true. Like, I've been trying to look for music, and I'm like, wait, I know this guy put things out. Like, where is it?
Oh, yeah. So, okay, no, truth be told, I have really focused mostly on teaching. Like, that's been teaching and playing in the churches has given me a very, very comfortable living. Bless the Lord. It has given me a very comfortable living. So I don't have, like, to me, my music is just something I write for the entertainment of God, really. Like, it's like, you drop the app and I like it too. So, so I'm going into something and then hand it back to you. Seriously, that's why I don't have a generally big desire to be on a stage or to practice anymore. But just, you know, that's where my music is. I am making a concerted effort though to get the music recorded by using my friends. My friends are, yes, my friends are far superior pianists than I could ever hope to be because they want it more than I ever wanted.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
So I've just been handing them music like, can you play my music for me? And thankfully, you know, no one is really writing interesting band music. Oops, said it out loud. I'm joking. I
No,
mean,
but
like
it's
Jonathan
true,
Scales.
though. It's true.
No, there's Scales. Jonathan Scales has written 4 or 5 hours worth of music, and the IQ. I'm talking about like stuff that challenges the player and challenges the audience to like, yes. I mean, that's not true also. Sean has an album. Okay, I like Sean's album. Okay, so there's some tweets. Look, there's a few people. No, I mean, all the contemporaries are writing amazing music. I tend to write music that for pianists. So I tend to write music that a pianist enjoys. Not, I don't really care about the audience. Y'all can figure it out when you get there. Because I feel like if I write music that makes the pianist want to play it.
Right. This makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah, this makes sense.
Some people are just writing music because they want to hear it. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
We don't. Your album full of stuff we don't want to listen to twice. Why you did that? Why you did that? Okay. Oh, also, we have an album coming out. So Culture Effects. Andre White, Sherwin Thwaites, Kawhi. I'm sure his last name is Leonard. I'm going to call him Leonard. I'm so bad. You know when you imprint something on your mind and you can't get it out?
Yeah.
Kawhi, an amazing vocalist and lyricist. He's been singing The bass player is mine. His name is Kyle. Mm, I just call him Kyle Basin. I don't
That's
know.
right. That's right.
And myself, also Kareem Thompson is featured, and we also have a percussionist whose name also runs out of my memory. I apologize to you. When we get that Grammy, I apologize. It's a really killing album. So when it comes out, if you love me, you have to buy it. Thank you, Williams. It's Kawhi Williams. Thank you. Look at that. This is why I love these people. You know, they know my mind not good. They know my mind not good.
They got you. They got your back. They got your back. Yeah.
I'm also pretty innocent in nature. I don't have vindictive personal vendetta. I make too much money for that. That's the way to. I live in New York comfortably, so I make too much money for that. That's all you got to remember. There you go. I don't got no bills.
I mean,
God is good to the foolish and to those that love other people without fear.
amen.
Write it down? Okay.
One more time?
I don't know. You're going to have to rewind it. It comes in a moment.
Gotcha.
Now he can't hear me. Now he can't hear me. What? Yeah, he's his cousin. See, I don't like to tell people that they're somebody's cousin, because if I said, yeah, my cousin's going to sing on the track.
True.
Yeah, you got a little...
I just want to say that we've been talking for an hour already.
I'm a teacher. I do this professionally. Give me a break.
No, I get it. And I love it. And I feel like we need a part 2, 3, 4, and 5.
I hear you.
Okay. So just a few things. Because we touched about it earlier before we go. I'll keep you a little longer if you don't mind. Okay, cool. You were talking about putting your students in a high pressure situation.
Yes.
So let's talk about that. Because I feel like a lot of musicians tend to shy away from that, me included, but I do it anyway. But
okay, probably gonna sound way more serious than it needs to be.
That's okay.
So coronavirus forced everyone to be stuck at home for about 2 years. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
High school students that were transitioning from junior high school to high school. That's as a high school teacher, and as someone that used to teach preschool, as someone that used to teach elementary school, as someone that used to teach middle school, as someone that used to teach in colleges, senior citizens, something about the age from 10 to 15 is you. Like,
right.
It's you. It's the basis of all the things that you become, all the major experiences that kind of shape the rest of your life. You kind of lock in between 10 and 15. And for 2 of those years, we left these mothers home with their phones and their parents that didn't know what to do with them.
Right.
Okay? Let's be 100% honest. Most parents are having a good time when they have kids. They're not trying to plan an estate. They're looking for 10 minutes of relaxation because they had enough to drink that night. That a lot of us were oopses and might as well.
Right.
Okay?
Sorry, he's leaving.
Who's
Go ahead.
leaving?
Sherwin.
Oh, got you. Bye, Sherwin. We love you. So now they come back in from this quasi-isolation where, to me at least, to someone that is hyper-vigilant of behaviors, I started realizing, these kids are acting the way an adult would react to stress.
Right.
Their mannerism, like the energy they give off, is very desperate and depressed when it's not positive. It's like, like the empath in me can just tell, like, you're not just upset with me, you're upset that you're alive sometimes. And that sounds like an experience that a teenager wouldn't go through, which is also crazy. I think that a 5-year-old can go through this, but in their body, they don't make sense of it, so they throw a tantrum.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm noticing that these children have not been challenged to do shit for 2 years. They don't even, most of them are not even walking home on their own. Right? So they're living in an environment where they're highly coddled, their expectations have been lowered, they've had very, very, very poor role modeling. Who are young girls trying to be? Michelle Obama or Munch? Are they trying? Are they trying to be Barack or ASAP Rocky?
Right.
So when you start to poll what's happening, the role modeling is gone. No one wants to be their parents. That shit doesn't even. Oh, well, there you got the one percenters that want to do that. So to me, all of these things are just showing up as signs that in my classroom, they have no persistence. If I'm not a hawk on top of them or penalizing them with work, or I yell at my kids, so I let them. What in the hell are you doing right now? I've seen your cell phone.
Yeah.
Did you delete the OnlyFans update? Did you get it off your phone yet? Okay.
Wow.
Okay. You're not even just watching Pornhub. You got the app. Okay. This is what I'm saying. All right.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Let me not expose nobody's kids. So all of that to me is a sign that now you don't have the external stuff that has been, that normally what happens is that, you have 6 teachers and a bunch of administrators that from the moment you walk into the school, they're constantly like beating up your ego. Like, they're kind of proofing you from the personality disorders that your parents have undiagnosed, that you have undiagnosed, because you have to now resculpt your personality to survive in this situation. But when you're home on your phone and you can put a filter on and feel beautiful and talk to a 30-year-old guy, but you're 13, like, that's going to really change your sense of how much access you have to the world. So they have a deflated need to be better people because they can access being better with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So in music class, they didn't touch any instruments for 2 years. Nobody. Maybe that one girl that had the guitar, the one kid that had the piano, 2 of them had a pen, kind of thing. But that was right. So most of my class actually needed to be, how do I get them accustomed to working? How do I get them accustomed to how do I get them to care about any of this anymore?
Right.
They do, and it's hard, and it's going to make you want to quit. And the moment that they get that lack of dopamine, shut down, where's my cell phone, detach, and want to take a nap. And that happens over and over and over and over and over and over again, until I realized the problem is that they have not exercised that innate muscle to give a shit. Like, we got beat when we was young. I got beat. You see my size? I'm huge. Okay, yeah. I'm 6 foot. I weigh 230. Believe you me, my 5'7" father knew that he could put hands on me. It would be okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Nobody was calling the police. No. I wasn't gonna die. But my father wasn't abusive, but definitely I used to run my mouth crazy. You think it's bad now? Crazy. Crazy. I remember one time we were at a party, my father's friend was holding a baby that was a completely different complexion than him. And I told him, whose baby did you steal? Why did you steal her baby? So, wait. My father is piano key black. Okay, my father is a dark skinned, a richly melanated man. And my mother, on the other hand, looks like a toasted piece of paper. So I am in the same situation, but I made it worse by telling the guy, but you don't look like her. So apparently there was an issue there that I kind of brought up at the party. Hit me in the mouth, sent me upstairs. I learned my lesson. Whisper what you want to your mom first before you say it out loud to the person. But yes, that used to proof us, at least, to have a restriction. Well, 2 things. It made us care about what we did. We had to be more deliberate. Growing up in the 70s and the 80s and 90s, you got to be deliberate. You can't. Your parents are a little crazy, crazy. Your parents too. They're still beating you with belts. They're still
belts, wooden spoons,
okay.
Whatever they can get their hands.
You catching something, you understand me? So it kind of made you slightly less likely to do something dumb.
Yeah.
What is the current way to discipline a 14-year-old that refuses to do their English homework? You tell me.
Take away their cell phone, their iPad.
They're still not going to read the book.
Yeah.
They're going to go to their room and sleep.
Yeah.
So what do?
I don't know. Take their bed away?
Stop feeding them. Stop feeding them. My grandmother, sounds crazy. Stop feeding them. Here's why. My grandmother, I was in this kind of a little bit privileged. We was poor, but we was like better than the other poor. You know, like when you're floating above the poor line. But thankfully, yeah. But my grandmother knew how to save a penny, pinch a penny, life insurance. Thank you, Lord. God rest your soul. She passed away in November. Still not really easy about it. I love her. Okay, but she knew how to pinch a penny, you understand me? And we had home cooked dinner every night for decades. Right. She cooked every day. That woman made it very clear that we had to be a certain way. My father made it clear we had to be a certain way all the time. And the only way that I can, well, she used to sometimes just make us eat cereal. No milk.
Right.
No water.
Right.
You want to fail classes? Lick's not working? Calorie deprivation. Give them nothing but cereal. I promise you, after a while, that cardboard taste of dry cornflakes, when their pants start to get a little thin, they're going to start thinking, nah, I got to get my grade up. Yo, my mom will make me eat cereal again today.
Right.
You're not abusing the child. Because if you were to, that is not, and I'm telling you, that is not a form of neglect. Because the other aspect of that is your child needs to be evaluated. And now you're going to get into a whole other set of stuff. I promise you, most of these like evaluations that we go through with a lot, I'm telling you, and it's going to probably make some parents and probably some professionals uneasy, but the vast majority of the personality issues and all this psychiatric stuff that we're seeing in our kids and hyperactivity and all of that is because they were not focused on enough as children. And you're going to say, well, what is enough? More than they got.
Right.
And that is, unfortunately, step on some toes, a byproduct of single parent homes. It's a byproduct of the abundance of single parent homes and parents that don't know how to live together and have children, because we have a lot of co-parenting. I love all of my friends that have to deal with this, but understand that your children will eventually learn how to manipulate both of you. That is the survival method.
Right.
And that survival method will translate into every relationship that they have. That is, I don't know how to show, I can't begin to show you the much documentation about it, right? So what do? I act like their foreign uncle, and I stress these little bastards constantly stressing them. Play in front of the class. I'm not ready. I know. Play in front of the class. I'm grading you.
Wow. So they can play anything?
At the beginning of the year, the very first thing that I ask everyone to do is that within the first 2 weeks of class, they have to play 30 seconds of something interesting. It can't just be one. Can't be one note. Can't be smushes. All of that's gonna make you feel. All of those. And if it doesn't look like you tried something, even if you tried and you were like, it could be anything.
Right.
As long as it showed that you paid enough attention for 30 seconds of it, you get 100. And then everything gets, right? And part of that is, it's not as hard as you think. And then this is music, not calculus. Relax. Relax. This is an easy win. This is how you can now practice dealing with your anxiety. This is how you can practice working through a depressed mind state because you got detention later, because your mommy yelled at you. How am I going to focus on this thing that responds only when I do it?
Right.
Right? And it's going to respond to me. And now I'm not in a good mental state. What's going to happen? That is the class. That is what I teach. That's why I'm telling you, I'm not concerned about the albums. I'm not concerned
Yeah.
about the gig.
No, that makes sense. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
There needs to be more of you. Devon had a comment here. You are so, so real about your opinion and views.
Thank you. Thank you.
Another
try.
comment from Devon, and it works because I do the same thing in the Panyard.
And that's another place that I used to see this. Arlen was Machiavelli. King Leopold. I'm trying to think of the right cognate. He was a kind of masochist. Like he was the best player in the band, and he knew it. You know, like, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to someone like me,
Right. Yeah.
You feel your bad. You feel your bad. I don't care if you're 15 years older than me. You feel your bad. I'll comment for you. And luckily, it sparked that like I need to be better. If he's capable of this, I should be able to attain some level of it. And that taught me how stress can be used as a useful tool. My father also used to play soccer all the time, and he would often put us in situations where we'd have to be stressed doing stuff. Khuent, go lift up all those bags of cement outside and carry them around the house. Don't carry them to the house. We don't want cement in the house. Carry them around. And the way my house was, we were the fourth house with a driveway all attached, with a back driveway, the street on the end of the driveway. Then you have to walk up the 4 houses to get to the front. You made me carry cement bags.
Wow.
Okay. And eventually you start realizing, wait a minute, I have like muscles. And these muscles are helping me do things a lot. I'm stronger than most of the people that I know. That kind of thing sets you up, you know. I remember one time he used to be a mechanic. He still kind of does it, but his hand, you know. My daddy getting old and things, so he try not to play underneath nobody's car. But he used to like take apart transmissions and engines and stuff. And same kind of mind that I have. And he would, with a book in his hand, put them all back together.
Wow.
And he would challenge us to do those same kinds of things. And I think about what the hell is a challenge that we give to a 14-year-old?
Very true.
So that's where a lot of it is from. I want to challenge you to break you into your superhumanity. And your superhumanity looks at a problem and laughs at it. Your superhumanity looks at your anxiety as a cue instead of a statement. It's saying something is happening that's making me feel triggered, as opposed to I can't do this because I'm triggered. And that's a big thing. Being able to turn on when you get the red lights.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense completely. So before we go, I like to do a little something just to see how well, just to get to know you better, I guess.
Okay. Fair.
So what is one thing that no one knows about you that is PG? Because I got to post this later.
PG. I'm a very good cook.
What is your favorite thing to cook?
Dinner style foods.
Dinner?
Any kind of dinner style foods.
Okay.
Yeah, you need some couscous, lasagna, rice and beans and coconut milk, oxtail. What you need? Yeah, that's kind of my thing. I enjoy making those things.
Okay, so I expect to be fed when we come visit. Thank you.
That's fine. That's fine. Eat pork?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. I just have to ask you.
Okay. Oh my goodness, this was an amazing interview and conversation. I appreciate it. I mean, if you want to do it again next week, we can.
Yeah, I don't want to move my screen and end the Instagram. I think I have. Next week is Memorial Day, yeah?
I think so. It's our long weekend right now, so I don't know when yours is. Maybe.
The 29th?
29th? Yeah, that's your Memorial weekend.
Yes, so that would be fine. Yeah, okay. Let's talk about some stuff.
Okay.
Still G-rated. Keep it G. Okay. You know, the trick is to just use triple entendre, you know.
I like
Just
that. I like that. We're gonna talk about like next time we talk. We're gonna talk about like you being a comedian and a tuner and.
me as a tuner is a joke, you know.
Well, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it.
I'm a pen right here. Yo, I don't know. Somebody took like an axe or something to the F of this pen. It was like, do you see it in the?
Did you say an axe?
There are like two heavy dented lines. I don't know. I don't know. I've been trying to like work the steel to get it back to a point where I don't have to blow torch it because I don't want to make it look crazy, but I definitely need to use heat. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Jesus.
What makes you, how you warn the woman like that to make she go axe up your pan? All right, that's what I was trying to do. First of all, Duvon is talking about he wants his part two. Duvon and I have seen each other several times between the interview, and he asked me the same question, and I'm like, I'm in my house all the time, whenever you're ready. He could have done it yesterday. Duvon, please stop acting light skin on the people's life. Thank you. So what, you're cutting ass at the panorama? So fine, you're good, you're good. You could play pan. All right. But come down from there with that. All right.
I was gonna say, but you said it before me, so cool. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so next time we do this, I'm gonna get other people to ask you some questions and get to know you a bit better and have a great conversation because it was fun.
And remember, I will not lie to you. So be careful what you ask.
We'll get into it. We'll get into it. We'll get into it. We'll make some people uncomfortable. It's okay.
Oh, hopefully. That means they're alive.
Well, exactly. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to talk. It was fun. Definitely fun. And I want to thank the viewers for tuning in. Definitely follow him. Is it Culture Roots?
No, Culture Effects is the name of one of the bands I'm in. Khuentertainment. Follow KHU Khuentertainment. Yes. And applause for the beautiful Danielle.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I need to figure out what your skin regimen is. It's flawless right now. Flawless. I can't find a pore anywhere there.
I thank my mother.
Listen up, some took on you to get a liter of blood. That's fine.
And I do drink a lot, so that might help too.
Oh, there you go. Coconut water.
Coconut water?
Coconut water.
I mean, it's
like a secret weight loss kind of thing.
It is. Yeah, don't tell nobody. But we knew about this from time. Everyone else is figuring it out. Yeah. Well, you enjoy the rest of your night, and we will definitely talk again soon. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in again, and part 2 next week.
Later.
Have a good night, everyone.